In the summer of 2014, Derek and Maria Broaddus stood on the porch of their newly purchased home at 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. The six-bedroom colonial, with its wraparound porch and manicured lawn, was their dream, a symbol of years of hard work. Their three children, aged 5, 8, and 10, raced through the empty rooms, claiming bedrooms. But within 3 days, their joy shattered. A letter arrived, slipped into the mailbox without a stamp, addressed to the new owner in a jagged, handwritten scrawl. It began innocently, welcoming them to the esteemed neighborhood, but the tone darkened. "I am the Watcher," it declared. "My grandfather watched this house in the 1920s, my father in the 1960s, and now it is my turn. I am tasked with watching 657 Boulevard." The letter unnerved them. It mentioned their children by name, noting the youngest's love for painting in the third-floor bedroom. "Do you know what lies within the walls?" it asked cryptically. Derek, a pragmatic insurance executive, dismissed it as a prank, but Maria, more intuitive, felt violated. Days later, another letter arrived, more sinister. The Watcher described Derek's navy blazer as he mowed the lawn, Maria's yoga schedule, and the children's bedtime routines. "Have you begun renovations?" "The house does not approve," it warned, hinting at anger if the home's historic charm was altered. The Broadduses called the police, who found no fingerprints or DNA. They questioned neighbors, like the elderly couple next door and a quirky single man across the street, but no one seemed capable of such menace. The family installed motion sensor lights and a high-end security system, but the letters persisted, arriving irregularly over months. One chilling note read, "I see the young blood in the house. Will they grow old here?" The ambiguity, was it a threat? Kept Maria awake, staring at the ceiling, listening for footsteps outside. Fear reshaped their lives. The children, once carefree, clung to their parents, refusing to play in the yard. Derek's temper frayed. Maria's health suffered from stress. They hired private investigators, who combed through property records and interviewed former owners, uncovering nothing. The previous owners admitted receiving one odd letter before selling, but dismissed it. The Broadduses tried to sell the house, but the Watcher's story, leaked to local media, scared buyers. Real estate agents whispered about a curse. They moved to Maria's parents' home, but the letters followed, now postmarked from nearby towns. One mentioned a secret in the basement, prompting Derek to tear up floorboards, finding only cobwebs. By 2017, they rented the house out, hoping distance would end the nightmare, but tenants reported feeling watched. In 2019, they sold at a $400,000 loss. No new owners received letters, deepening the mystery. Was the Watcher a vengeful neighbor, a deranged prankster, or something unexplainable? Westfield residents still glance at 657 Boulevard, wondering if the Watcher's eyes linger. In August 1974, Jack and Janet Smurl moved into a duplex at 328 Chase Street in West Pittston, Pennsylvania, a blue-collar town along the Susquehanna River. The house, split between their family and Jack's parents, was a steel, spacious, with high ceilings and a wraparound porch. Jack, a factory worker, and Janet, a devoted mother to their 4 daughters, saw it as a fresh start after financial struggles. But within months, the house felt wrong. Tools vanished from Jack's basement workshop, reappearing in odd places like the attic. Janet heard footsteps pacing the second floor when she was alone, each thud deliberate. A rancid smell, like rotting meat, drifted through the house, vanishing when she searched for its source. Their eldest daughter, Dawn, 13, woke one night to a shadowy figure gliding through her bedroom wall, its edges blurry but distinctly human. She screamed, but it dissolved. The family, devout Catholics, prayed, hoping to banish their unease. But the disturbances grew violent. Dishes flew from cabinets, shattering against walls. At night, guttural voices whispered their names, seeming to emanate from the plaster itself. Jack, skeptical of the supernatural, saw a faceless entity one midnight, hovering over their bed. Its weight pressed his chest, stealing his breath as Janet slept unaware. He never doubted again. By 1985, the Smurls were desperate. Strange scratches appeared on Janet's arms, welts rising without cause. Their dog, a gentle collie, was thrown against a wall, yelping in pain. The TV once erupted in static, flickering with distorted faces before going black. They contacted demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, who arrived with tape recorders and crucifixes. After weeks of investigation, the Warrens concluded a demonic entity, possibly tied to the land's coal mining past, had latched onto the family. They performed blessings, chanting prayers, but the entity retaliated. Lights flickered, a mirror cracked. Janet heard mocking laughter from the basement. The Smurls went public in 1986, appearing on local news, hoping exposure would bring help. Instead, they faced skepticism. Neighbors called it a hoax. Priests hesitated to intervene. The diocese sent Father O'Leary, who attempted an exorcism, but the activity intensified. Beds shook. A child's doll levitated. The family's faith wavered, their marriage strained under the relentless terror. In 1987, they fled to a cramped apartment, leaving most possessions behind. The next tenants reported no issues, baffling investigators. The Warrens documented the case, noting similarities to other hauntings, but offered no closure. Jack later wondered if his early dismissal of the paranormal invited the entity's wrath. The Smurls never returned to Chase Street, but the house stands, its history whispering to those who pass. In the winter of 1922, the Gruber family lived on their secluded farm in Hinterkaifeck, Germany, a speck of land 70 kilometers north of Munich. Andreas, 63, and Kazilia, 72, ran the farm with their widowed daughter Victoria, 35, her children Kazilia, 7, and Joseph, 2, and a maid, Maria Baumgartner, 44. The Bavarian countryside was harsh, the farm isolated by dense forest. Weeks before the tragedy, Andreas noticed unsettling signs. Footprints in the snow led from the woods to the barn, but never away, as if someone watched without leaving. Keys to the house vanished. A strange newspaper, unfamiliar to the family, appeared on the porch, its pages weathered. At night, heavy footsteps creaked in the attic, each step deliberate. Andreas searched with a lantern, finding only dust. He confided in neighbors at the local inn, describing a feeling of being watched. Some suggested a thief, others a spirit tied to the farm's history. Rumors swirled of a worker's death there decades earlier. Andreas, gruff and practical, dismissed superstition but grew irritable, snapping at Victoria, whose reputation suffered from village gossip about her romantic entanglements. On March 30th, Kazilia, the granddaughter, told her schoolteacher about strange noises at home, her eyes wide with fear. The next night, March 31st, the murders began. One by one, Andreas, Kazilia, Victoria, and young Kazilia were lured to the barn, perhaps by a fabricated animal cry. Each was struck with a mattock, a farming tool, their skull shattered. The killer stacked the bodies neatly, almost reverently, under hay bales. Later, Maria and Joseph were killed in the house. Maria in her bed, Joseph in his crib, their heads crushed. The precision chilled investigators later. No struggle was evident. For 4 days, the farm seemed alive. Smoke curled from the chimney. Neighbors saw a figure in the windows, moving deliberately. A farmer's dog barked furiously at the property, but no one checked, assuming the Grubers were busy. When Andreas missed church, a neighbor investigated, finding the blood-soaked scene. Police arrived, noting eerie details: a half-eaten meal, freshly sliced bread, and untouched cash. Someone had lived there post-murder. The investigation faltered. Over 100 suspects, neighbors, drifters, even Victoria's rumored lovers, were questioned, but evidence was scarce. A stranger with a rifle was seen near the forest weeks prior, but he vanished. Autopsies revealed young Cazilia survived hours, pulling out her hair in agony. Theories range from a vengeful suitor to a roving psychopath. The farm was demolished in 1923, erasing its secrets. The Hinterkaifeck murders remain Germany's most enduring mystery, a tale whispered in Bavarian taverns, warning of shadows that linger too long.